Okay, this next video right here is to explain your second part of the project, and this one's a little more involved in the playbill. So there are 5 different choices you can make from this, and first of all, I'm going to start from the day 11 page and show you that this link where it says this document will take you to the final projects, and these are your choices. Okay, once again on here I put on the very top of it, everyone has to create a playbill regardless which of the choices you make down below, and remember you only have to do one of these down below, but everyone has to do a playbill. So I put the link here as well if you haven't already done a playbill. So you can see on here I have to choose any one of the following to do as your project. The due date for this is Thursday, April 2nd, but I did put on there that this is a goal due date, but if there are some people who need a little extra time, especially if you're creating a video that takes a little extra time, if you need a little more time, that's fine. You know, you can shoot me an email and say, hey, we're going to record this part over the weekend. Can I have it due on Monday? I'm okay with that. Just, you know, don't try to extend it out into deep into April or anything like that. Okay. So if you let me know when you turn it in, you can share a link with me, whatever it might be. You could also let me know if you're okay with me sharing that link with other students so they can see how well you did. If you'd like, I can post it. I can create a new page for my website and let anybody show up and see the projects that everybody else did. So when you finish it, whatever way you do your project, I want you to title it Romeo and Juliet Final. Even if you're sending this to me in an email, I want you to put that on there, Romeo and Juliet Final, in the subject bar, so I know that that's what you're sending me. Okay, so here are your choices. First of all, number 1. This one can be a little involved, but if you remember at the beginning of this unit, we took a tour of the Globe Theater, the virtual Globe Theater, and if you click on that link, it will take you back to the site where we did our tour of the theater. Okay, and as you click, you can scroll around, you can look and see various items dealing with the structure of it. We did talk about how the stage itself was designed and where people could sit, and if you click on any of the circles, it will give you more details. Like this represents the heavens up above. You can click on some of these and it talks about when the theater opened. Now, Romeo and Juliet technically was performed before the Globe Theater was open, so it was performed somewhere else. But for this assignment, you're just going to pretend that there wasn't a 4-year gap between the play and the theater. So, in looking at all of this, if you go back and look at the project assignment, it says to choose one of the scenes from this document. Okay, and for a couple of these choices, you would use this document. I split up the scenes into, you can see on the left it tells you what scene it is, Act 1, Scene 1, the first half of it, or Act 1, Scene 1. The second half, put a description of what happened in that scene, the characters who are listed in that scene, and then the first line and the approximate length of those. So, for example, this Act 1, Scene 1, the first half of it starts with, I want you to start with where Gregory says, "Here comes 2 of the house of Montague," and then you go for about 105 lines, okay? And you'll be able to see how far into the play that is. It'll be before Benvolio says, "Good morrow, cousin," okay? That's where it ends, because Act 1, Scene 1, the second half starts with Benvolio saying, "Good morrow, cousin." So what you would have to do with that scene is explain how this scene may have been viewed or interpreted differently by audience members on that particular stage. How this stage, the layout of it, where they are, how they're seeing the play, how they can be right up against the stage, all of that stuff. How could that cause them to interpret the play differently than we were able to experience it just by reading it in the classroom? Put what disadvantages or advantages they might have with the stage performance, Add a feature from that stage or several features from that stage that help with those aspects. You know, you should think about things like lighting. Remember, they didn't have banks of lights plugged into outlets because that wasn't available in the late early 1600s. Crowd interaction, what technology or lack thereof they had. You know, talk about all of these things, how on that stage it would have been completely different than how we were able to cover it in the classroom. This should be a minimum of 2 pages in the explanation when it's completed. Okay? So that is number 1.